Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today, this is my first video since finishing this year of college, and what a year it has been. There's a lot to talk about in this video. So, today I'm talking about all the ways that college has fucked me over. Or over the course of this year. I think there has been more issues this one year than every other year of school and college combined, because of the amount of bullshit that has gone on. I'm going to try keep this as short as I can, but I'm also going to try and keep it in chronological order from the start to the end, and then the second end, because that's something that happened. So, from the beginning, right, induction. That wasn't too bad. It's meant to be a little bit unorganised for the first day, for the first trial day, simply for the fact that no one really knows what rooms they're in, no one knows your teachers, you don't know any of that stuff, so that day is expected to be a little bit hectic. But no, we literally didn't know our teacher, we weren't told a spot to meet, we didn't have a room for our induction, we ended up using someone else's room and then moving to another room when they needed the room. So that was already a bad start. Again, it's expected, it's meant to be a little bit unorganised, but you should at least have a room sorted out. Now, this is an issue that happens throughout the entire year. In the first proper week of college, right, we go to the room that we met originally on that induction week, just because we weren't told a room for our maths teacher, who I will not be naming, I won't be naming any of the teachers, but our electronic principles teacher, or engineering principles teacher, we weren't told where to meet him, so we looked around for about half the lesson, 45 minutes, couldn't find him at all, and then we ended up asking reception a couple of times, and eventually we found him. We did end up seeing him eventually, but it was basically just because he had a room that was up one normal elevator, right, with the opening and closing doors. I then had to go up 2 stair lifts. Not one, but 2, so 3 lifts in total to find this one fucking teacher for 45 minutes. Probably less than that, because it probably took us an hour to find him, half an hour of the actual lesson. One of the first issues was not having a room. And this happened with every lesson, right? Every lesson we had for about 2 weeks. We didn't have a room, we weren't told what room we were meant to be in. And in fact, for one of the teachers, this is the other thing, is for personal development time, our teacher was double booked. Our teacher was in another group teaching another class at the time that they were meant to be teaching us. So we were told that we had to stay at college. None of us did, by the way. We were told that we had to stay at college, but our teacher wasn't going to be teaching us, so what the fuck is the point in that? Anyway, all of us just ended up going home every Tuesday for the last lesson because there was no point of it. Our timetable was meant to be Monday, 9 till 4:30. Tuesday, 9 till, I believe it was 3? No, 2:45, because we have a 15-minute break from the last lesson to the third lesson. So 3. 2:45 for Tuesday, and then 9 till 1:30, something like that. But that wasn't the timetable that we ended up with, because after a couple of weeks of our teacher being double booked, we eventually had this new thing put in place. We had this extra lesson, which was basically a substitute for personal development time. Can't remember what it was called, but all we were really doing was talking about things such as addictions and, things that we all got taught in primary school, in secondary school. It's like addictions, sex education, the British values and stuff like that. All of that in this lesson for an hour, for half an hour, for an hour and a half at the end of a Tuesday. So that was added on. That was not 9 till 4:30 now on Monday and Tuesday. So we've already had an extra hour and a half plus 15 minutes added to the day, because 15-minute break that we have to wait for the lesson, then the lesson itself being an hour and a half. So none of us were happy about that. And then after another term, I think, another half term, we ended up having our personal development time given back to us. Except it's now on the end of a Tuesday, on the end of a Wednesday. So we have an extra 45 minutes for lunch, plus an hour and a half added to our Wednesday. So we've had hour and 45 minutes plus 2 hours and 15 minutes added to our day. So that's an extra 4 hours added to our timetable, which none of us were happy about. None of us liked it. That's like a side thing. That is the storyline of the PDT issue. That is the storyline of us having an extra lesson, extra 2 lessons, plus an hour worth of break and wasted time. On a Wednesday, by the way, going back to at the start of term, our teacher was given the wrong room. Now, what we mean by this is the room that we were given isn't big enough for all of the pupils in the class. So the desks were like high, they were like the high science chairs, and that meant that obviously me in a wheelchair couldn't really reach the desks. So, desk up here, I think it was about there on me. So I could write if I did that, but it wasn't easy. So we ended up switching rooms, and the room that we swapped to, again, wasn't ideal. So we ended up splitting the group into 2 groups. There was one group that would have them for the first hour and a half on a Wednesday. Then we'd have a half-hour break. And then for the second lesson, the other group would swap over. Now, what the group that wasn't with my teacher would do is we would go off and go to the library, or go off and what my friend group did, which was go get milkshakes. And we used that as a bit of a day off because of all the extra bullshit that had gone on with the extra lessons and stuff. So yeah, that wasn't ideal. We could have probably done a bit more, to be honest, but our Wednesday routine would be lesson with our teacher, and then we'd go off and go into town, get milkshakes, get snacks, go back to the room, and then do some work. Because, we wanted that extra time to go and get drinks. We wanted that extra time to go and do whatever we wanted. And we did have a bit of an extra long break. However, we did also do our work. We didn't just completely skype the lessons. And yeah, it was a good time, good period of time. And then on about midway through the term, one of our teachers suddenly realizes that we're not being taught CAD, computer aided design. I don't know how they didn't realize that we're missing an entire lesson to our week, but yeah, apparently we're missing an entire subject for like half the year. We didn't find out about it until February, where we then have the PDT replacement, the personal development time replacement, swapped over with CAD. So we haven't had any time added. We've had the Tuesday last lesson taken away and replaced with CAD, which in itself wasn't too bad. It was a boring lesson, and one of our other teachers had quit around this time as well. So our CAD teacher also ended up taking us for a Monday lesson in replacement of this old teacher that had left for commercial product sales. Wow, that was bullshit. That's another thing, is the course itself wasn't electronic engineering. I was on a level 3 electronic engineering course. We didn't design one circuit. We didn't do anything with wires. The most electronic thing that we did was coding, which isn't what we signed up for. Electronic engineering isn't about coding. It's about making a computer. Not making it work, making a computer. We didn't do that at all. We did things like plumbing and water pressure through pipes and things. We did the commercial studies. We did CAD. Now, CAD can be done with designing circuits, but we didn't do that. We designed like 3D models, like what I can do with a 3D pen. And like engineering drawings. We did an entire 3-hour per week thing with structural engineering and like tools and, you know, making a physical product. We made like a plumb bob body and things like that. None of that has anything to do with electronic engineering, and we even checked multiple times if we were on the right course, because none of it was electronics. We also had calculus, and that was its own thing, right? My calculus teacher gave me an assignment, gave the entire group an assignment, that he had to get help from another teacher to understand. My own calculus teacher didn't understand the assignment that he gave us. I'll give you a minute to think about that, because what teacher gives you work that they can't teach you, that they can't help you with? They admit that they can't find anything online to help us with, and have had to get help from another fucking teacher. How the fuck does that make sense? Anyway, that's its own thing. As well with calculus, for our first assignment, we all struggled with it, and we ended up giving it back. Eventually, some people gave it in a little bit late, but my teacher didn't mark any of them until they were all in. But because he took so long to mark them, apparently there's like a 2-week period in which after an assignment has been submitted, it has to be marked, otherwise it doesn't count. But my teacher missed that, so we ended up getting our assignments back to redo completely. So we had to do the same assignment twice, because my teacher was a lazy fuck and couldn't be bothered to mark it. Like, how the fuck does that work? Why are we having to do an assignment twice? Granted, most of us would have had it handed back, but we had to do this assignment once that didn't get marked in time, so there was no point in doing that. A second time to get it right, which would be basically the first submission. And then we had to do our resubmissions, because most of us failed because we didn't understand calculus. Yeah, the fact that my teacher made us do an assignment twice because they didn't mark it in time, and then also gave us an assignment that they couldn't do, is beyond me. I had a teacher walk into me, right? Be like, so the teacher walks into me, I'm in my chair at a desk, he walks into me and doesn't do anything. So I'm like, sir, you accidentally just walked into me. He turns around and looks at me, is like, oh, okay, and then just walks off, pretending like nothing ever happened. And it's like, what? Like, first off, if you walk into someone or something, you should instantly turn around and see what it is. Now, if he didn't film me, that's fine. But then when I tell him that he's walked into me, and he doesn't say sorry, he doesn't apologise, he doesn't acknowledge it, he just says, okay, and then continues as if nothing happened. He was an absolute savage. And I'm just looking at this counter right over here that you guys can't see, seeing how long I've been recording. I've been recording for almost 20 minutes, just ranting about my college and some of the things that they have done, but I don't want this video to be too long. There's a bunch of other, more minor things that have gone on throughout the year that honestly aren't even worth saying, just because... Oh, right. This is worth saying. My teacher threatened one of our pupils with a cricket bat. So the head of engineering at the time went to the games room, where he found a group of the people on Wednesday where we all split up because our room's double booked. No, our room is too small for our class. So on Wednesday, as I said, 2 groups, 1 group with the teacher, 1 group doing whatever they want. So the group with the teacher was obviously with the teacher, and they were in our group, the people that got yelled at. So it was my friends and this other group with the teacher. We then go off for our break, and we get back to our classroom that we go to. And at the time, I was asking for help with the calculus assignment, which is why we didn't get in trouble, because we had a teacher with us. But the other group, like within our Wednesday first lesson group, so my friend group and then this other group of people within our class group. Does that make any sense? No, probably not. Yeah, a couple of people from our group were off in the games room just playing pool, chilling and stuff, because we don't have anything to do. And then our learning manager, or our like engineering instructor, I guess, we don't have him for any subjects, but he's apparently the head of engineering, goes in there, sees them there, yells at them, and apparently they were meant to be in the library, they were meant to be like with our teacher, having a go at them, yelling at them, goes off and brings them to our teacher that we were booked to have, but because again the room's too small, they weren't with them. And then they're like, the teacher was like, yeah, there's a group next door if you want to go sit with them. And they go in. And then this learning manager, right, bearing in mind, me and my friends are at the front of the class doing calculus with a teacher. The people that were missing the lesson, or doing what they wanted because, it was a free lesson, come in and sit at the back, where our learning manager yells at them, has a massive go at them, causing us to not be able to do our work because he's yelling at a group of people at the back of the class. And then he's going on about like the gangs in our town and all of this stuff, and like someone got stabbed a while ago, and it's like, what does this have to do with not being in class? Like, we were in the college, we're allowed to leave the college. What does that have to do with anything? Anyway, I can't remember the exact quote, but everyone that was in the room heard the teacher threaten one of the pupils with a baseball bat. Anyway, after that, the teacher that yelled at them and threatened with the baseball bat wasn't in for a couple of weeks. He was in for like the rest of that week, and then we had a half term, and then we had 2 weeks where he just wasn't in. No one saw him, and apparently it was for stress and a break, but we honestly just think that he was told to not come in for a while. But anyway, he comes back and he's not got his old job. He's not the head of engineering, and we had a new guy who's awesome, by the way. Like, this new guy is absolutely amazing. He was really helpful. Really appreciate him. Hi, I'm waiting. She can be entered.
Oh, why is the door shut then?
Because she was out there and I wanted it to be quiet. The more you're fucking around, the more it's...
Oh, nice one. I'm really fucking out.
So yeah, the teacher that threatened the pupils with the baseball bat wasn't in for like 2 weeks. And then he was replaced. He still went to the college. Like, he still went and was a teacher there. We don't know what his new title was, but he wasn't his old thing. And yeah, that was a separate issue. Now, as I said, like before, I reminded myself of the baseball bat teacher. There was a lot of things that went on at the college. A lot of shit went down. a lot of bad things, not much good. Like, I don't know if I've passed. If I have, it'll be a fucking miracle. I had teachers like take over other lessons. Like, my CAD teacher ended up taking over pretty much all of Wednesday. We had the first lesson with that teacher that we split lessons with. He took the second lesson, the third lesson, and added an extra hour and a half, like, after that. Because, he didn't have enough. He had Monday, Tuesday for an hour and a half each, and then 4.5 hours on Wednesday, and was trying to push for an extra couple of lessons on a Friday, which was a day we weren't even booked in for. So yeah, I'm salty about this year. I am pissed off beyond belief about the amount of bullshit that went on. But it's over. Next year will hopefully be better. Probably not, but hopefully I can have hope. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, me ranting about the college year. Right, I keep on saying that I finished, but I had finished my college work and submitted everything 2 weeks ago, and I finished the college year this week. I had everything submitted, and my CAD teacher, who was also doing the products, sales and stuff, said that it was all good. He had a quick look through it and looked at it with me last week for 3 hours. Because he told me to come in, despite handing everything in. I had to come in so he could check my work. That was understandable. So I spend them 3 hours with him, and he says, "Oh yeah, it's all good, you should be done." I get an email on Sunday telling me that I need to come in on Monday because he didn't check my work properly and that I need to make some adjustments. When I tell you, I was fucking pissed off. With my calculus assignment, my last calculus assignment, I emailed him on that Monday to see if I needed to come in on the Tuesday. So yeah, I didn't know if I passed my calculus assignment, waiting for him to mark it and tell me. I then get an email on the Monday saying, "Oh yeah, sorry, I haven't had a chance to look through it." Bearing in mind, it's the last week of college. It is the last week that we were meant to be in college, the last week that things can be marked and sent off to still get a mark. And he still hasn't marked our assignments. So he tells me to come in on Tuesday and he'll have it done by then. So we have the first 2 lessons doing absolutely nothing. Then I go to his lesson. He still hasn't marked it. Anyway, he marks other people's assignments, and about 20 minutes before the end of the lesson, he says that he's marked mine, gives it back to me, and apparently I failed because I missed out some parts on our third question. So he's given me 20 minutes to make changes to an assignment that took me weeks, that he couldn't even understand. My teacher gives me 20 minutes to make adjustments to an assignment that he didn't understand. Like, I was so pissed. I stormed out of that classroom when it was over and punched like 3 or 4 walls because otherwise I was going to punch him. I then also had my CAD teacher tell me that he wanted to see me on the last lesson as well because apparently he didn't mark it. Like, he skim read it twice. Once on the week last week. Twice on the week last week and did changes. And then this week on the Monday and then on the Tuesday. And yeah, that was another thing that pissed me off, was the fact that I had teachers waiting until the literal last minute, couldn't have left it any later, and expecting me to have it done within 20 minutes when they can't do it. That is the level of bullshit that went on with my college year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, all of that usual stuff. I should probably end this video before I think of something else to talk about. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!